Imagine spending the next 30 years doing everything right. You work hard, you save money, you avoid debt, you play it safe, and yet you never become wealthy. Not because you failed, but because you believed one financial lie. A lie so common, most people never question it. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at money the same way again. From the time we're children, we're taught one simple formula: study hard, get a good job, save your money, and eventually you'll be financially secure. It sounds responsible, it sounds logical, but there's one problem. That advice was designed to help you survive, not build wealth. And there's a huge difference. Here's the biggest lie about money. If you work hard and save enough, you'll eventually become rich. Now, don't get me wrong. Working hard matters. Saving money matters. Both are important. But neither one creates wealth by itself. Think about it. Millions of people wake up early every morning. They work honestly. They save consistently. Yet many still spend their lives worrying about money. Why? Because income alone doesn't build wealth. Saving alone doesn't build wealth. Those things create stability, not freedom. That's why two people can earn exactly the same salary and end up living completely different financial lives. One spends decades chasing the next paycheck. The other quietly builds assets that keep paying long after the work is done. Same income, completely different outcome. So what creates that difference? It isn't luck, and it isn't intelligence. It's how they think about money. Here's a question. If saving alone made people rich, why aren't the world's best savers automatically the wealthiest? Exactly. Because something else is happening behind the scenes. Imagine trying to fill a bucket while there's a tiny hole in the bottom. At first, you barely notice it. But hour after hour, day after day, water keeps leaking out. That's exactly what happens when your money simply sits still. Inflation quietly reduces its buying power. Opportunities pass. Time keeps moving. And the cost isn't obvious, because nothing dramatic happens. That's why it's dangerous. The biggest financial mistakes usually don't feel like mistakes. They feel comfortable. Playing it safe feels comfortable. Waiting feels comfortable. Doing nothing feels comfortable. But comfort has a hidden price. While your money sits still, someone else's is buying businesses, earning returns, and growing every single day. The wealthy understand one simple truth. Money is like an employee. If it isn't working, it isn't helping build your future. And that's the mindset that changes everything. Because the goal isn't simply to earn money. The goal is to make money, start earning money. But here's the surprising part. Even investing isn't enough. Because millions of people invest and still never become wealthy. So what are they missing? That's where everything changes. So, if working harder isn't the answer, and saving alone isn't enough, what do wealthy people do differently? They stop thinking like earners, and they start thinking like owners. That's the shift almost nobody teaches. Most people ask, how can I make more money? The wealthy ask, how can I own something that keeps making money? That's a completely different game. A paycheck depends on your time. An asset doesn't. A paycheck stops when you stop working. A productive asset can continue creating value long after the work is done. That's why the wealthiest people in the world don't just earn income. They own businesses, stocks, real estate, intellectual property, or skills that continue creating opportunities for years. They understand one simple principle. Income pays your lifestyle. Ownership builds your future. And once you see that difference, it's impossible to unsee it. Think about this. If you stopped working today, How much of your income would still exist a year from now? For most people, the answer is close to zero. And that's exactly why financial freedom feels so far away. Here's something surprising. Building wealth usually doesn't begin with a huge investment. It begins with a different question. Instead of asking, "What can I buy?" ask, "What can this money become?" That small shift changes every financial decision. A dollar can disappear today, or it can become an investment, a new skill, a business idea, or an asset that keeps producing value for years. The wealthy aren't obsessed with having more money. They're obsessed with giving every dollar a purpose. Because money without a job slowly disappears. Money with a job quietly builds freedom. So, what's the biggest lie about money? It's believing that working harder or saving more will eventually make you wealthy. Those habits create stability. But wealth is created when your money begins working as hard as you do. That's the difference. The goal isn't to spend less forever. The goal is to build a system where your money keeps creating more opportunities, even while you're asleep. Because in the end, wealth isn't about how much money passes through your hands. It's about how much stays working for your future. So let me ask you something. What's one money belief you've changed over the years? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want practical videos about wealth, investing, and financial psychology, subscribe. Because every week, we're learning how money really works. I'll see you in the next one.